Well, that's not what I expected. What's going on, guys? Happy Monday. Welcome to your WWE Raw review for April 22nd, 2024. Brand new WWE Women's World Champion, and it's not who I thought it was going to be. I got a feeling we're going to get some backlash on this. Becky Lynch did win the Battle Royal in the main event of tonight's Raw that was given a lot of time, almost 30 minutes for this Battle Royal, which was not bad. Multiple commercial breaks. They told some stories. We had a really fun and interesting final three. And I just thought with the Battle Royal, that just had Liv Morgan written all over it because they are getting it done within 1 week. I thought if they were going to have anybody else other than Liv win, then we'd see either like a tournament or one of those, you know, those triple threat things that they do. Oh, the winner of this triple threat will face the winner of this triple threat, you know, on Easter Sunday and when the moon is full or whatever the fuck. And then that's how you determine the number one contender. But instead, they just did it all in one night. I'm like, oh, Battle Royal is a perfect way to get a little heel like Liv Morgan over. That just gives her more heat if she wins it in like a sketchy way, or if she's on the outside of the ring and runs in and tosses somebody out, wins the championship, then she could just be on TV, you know, working and developing that heel persona of hers and be as obnoxious as possible and just walk around like a fucking asshole until Rhea Ripley gets healthy and comes back and murders her. That would be a really fun, I think, story, albeit predictable, but still kind of fun. And they didn't do that tonight. It wound up being Becky Lynch winning the championship. And, you know, I'm going to judge how I feel about this, or wait to judge how I feel about it for a little bit here. I mean, I'm not thrilled. It's not who I really wanted, but I'm not going to be flying off the rails. Oh, I'm not going to believe that there's some Charlotte complex with Becky or anything like that quite yet. Maybe they've got a different plan. Maybe the plan is still for Liv Morgan to win the championship. Maybe they just want her to win it later, a little closer to when Ripley comes back. But I would have just given it to her now. But putting it back on Becky, I guess maybe the company's thought process on this. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying maybe from their perspective, they're losing a stud in Rhea Ripley. I mean, she is at the top of her game. I think, you know, the most over woman on the roster right now, even with the most momentum, even more than Bianca. And I love Bianca, but I think Ripley has just had an incredible year. Maybe WWE's feeling is that if you're going to lose a top main eventer like that, you need to replace them with another one. I argue that it would have been fun to have Liv do it, would have been entertaining, but maybe they could just kind of want to keep someone, you know, with equal power or equal spot on the roster and put it in that place. Liv, we all love her, but she's a little bit lower on the card. Even though she has won a world championship before, she's not a Becky, she's not a Bianca, she's not a Charlotte, she's not a Ripley, she's not even really a Nia Jax. So maybe that's their thought on that, but I think it would have been fun for WWE to try to take advantage of this opportunity that they might have here with Liv, give her the title, see how she does, see how much of an asshole she can be, and a troll, maybe Drew McIntyre style, or even a little bit of Jack Perry or whatever, and let her develop that heel persona, get her some heat. And then when Rhea comes back, you know, if Liv Morgan is, you know, white hot and she gets that over or something, maybe keep running with her. If not, have Rhea murder her and take her belt back. But now it's on Becky Lynch. We'll get everyone's opinions on that. Let me know what you think of that in the chat. I have not even checked social media yet to see if people are shitting their pants in anger over this, or if they're indifferent, or, you know, whatever. I think with me, I wouldn't go so far as to say I'm indifferent, but I'm definitely not shitting my pants over it. I'm not going to, the sky's falling, forget it. WWE's not going to push anybody but Becky Lynch, and we should just quit watching wrestling. Come on. But at the same time, kind of disappointed that it went the way that it did. You know, maybe Becky, I thought maybe Becky would be off a little bit too with Seth Rollins' injury. Maybe that was the original plan. Maybe Becky and Seth did intend to be off together for a little while after WrestleMania, but then when Rhea Ripley got hurt, they might have called up Becky Lynch. Hey, can you come back a little bit early? Or, hey, we'll put the belt on you. Can you carry the flag for a little while? It might have been something like that. They might not want to have lost Ripley and Becky. You know, this is just a thought. I have no idea if Becky was scheduled to be off the road for a while after WrestleMania or not, but it feels like she might have been after that loss to Rhea Ripley and then Seth's surgery. The two of them, you know, have been working incredibly hard, especially Seth, so maybe a little break for them. But then when you lose Rhea, you can't just be giving one of your other top stars a break. So they're probably like, come on back. Least we can do is give you the belt. again, this is just Greg's speculation, but maybe that's kind of what went on here. I don't know. At the end of the day, I'm not going to let this bother me. I don't give a shit, really, at the end of the day. If it was me, though, and if I'm Triple H and I got Mr. Pencil, I'm penciling in Liv Morgan to win the Battle Royal tonight and become world champion, but she did not. So we'll see what the fallout, the backlash, if any, or criticisms of that was. The Battle Royal itself, I don't think was bad. I appreciated that they made it the main event. I think any other year, this would have been an hour number 2. They made it the main event, and they gave them close to 30 minutes with several commercial breaks. And I didn't even count how many women were in this thing. It was less than 20. Might have been 20. I don't know how many women were in it, but it did not feel like it was 20. And I thought it was decent. So what did you guys think of the show overall tonight? You got grades for me? 1 through 10, A, B, C, or D, or F? I'm not going to give it an F by any means. I thought it was kind of a run-of-the-mill Raw, nothing too crazy. But we did see some decent stuff. I mean, we had a new champion crowned, and we had a big heel turn. Kind of 2 heel turns, really. Although Chad Gable, I think, turned heel last week. He made some of his intentions known this week, and you can tell he's going to be an insufferable fucking prick for the next several weeks on TV as he continues to abuse his Alpha Academy until they might dump him or he dumps them for the Creed brothers, which is what I'm expecting. But also we had Ludwig Kaiser turning on Da Vinci. Gunther returned. We had some news on the King of the Ring tonight as well. What else did we see? We had a tag team championship match. We had, some Damian Priest and Jey Uso stuff. Sheamus and Drew McIntyre had a little exchange. So we had some fun-ish stuff on the show tonight, and I don't think tonight's Raw was bad. If I was to grade it, I'm going to give it a C. That's the best I can do. I'm going to go 6.5 out of 10, 6.8 out of 10 maybe, and I'm going to give it a C. Trying to be kind to it because Raws have been good lately. So let me know what you guys thought in the chat here. Let me get over here and say hello to everybody. I'm also going to do a refresh here just so I can see all y'all. And if you don't mind, smash Mr. Thumbs Up button for me. I would absolutely love that. We have hit an algorithm skid. We ain't adding subscribers at all for some reason right now. No big deal. It happens all the time. A couple times a year this happens, and then it picks back up. So in this between time, until the algorithm likes us again and we start gaining some subs, please subscribe if you are not yet already, and smash Mr. Thumbs Up. Super chats are open, memberships are open, all that good stuff, and good to see you guys in here as always. Let me say hello to some channel members like Noah Heiss, brand new channel member. Welcome to the family, my friend. Good to see you. Also got Jay Lambo up in here, 7th season. JJ Leg, Big J, Zach Palgett. We have the Juliet. We have Tony. I'm sorry, you're not a channel member. I'm trying to hit the channel members first. Max Pokebro, there you are. Sonic Plays is in the house as well. Mr. J, I see you. And that looks like it's it, at least for the early channel members. Good to see Patty J, Roman Stone in the house as well. Ronnie Matthews is here. We got Kevin. We got Jonathan. Ronnie, oh shit, I already got you. Tony, I already got you. Justin, good to see you. Justin Konglang. Daniel Barry Sports. We got Nick Musser, channel member in the house. David Brown is here. So we got some Monkey Wrenches and channel members. Jose Lopez, Ben Espinoza is here. Matthias, NSJ79. We have Ricky, we got Damian Drain, Doug Unfunny. Good to see you guys in here. Happy Monday to you. Thank you for being here with me for a long weekend. We had the podcast on Saturday. I released a mic drop with some WrestleMania 141 chatter on Friday. We did the podcast on Saturday. We were here last night watching Dynasty together, which was just a fucking trip of a show. And that Danielson-Ospreay match, holy smokes. And now we are back tonight for the Raw review. So we'll get into kind of Raw. We'll get into what might be happening at Backlash. We have 3, count them, WWE pay-per-views coming up in about the next 7 weeks, as we did get an announcement on the next Saudi show, which I've been wondering about why we haven't had that one come up yet. And it does look like, once again, like they did last year, they're going to tie in the King of the Ring to this, or at least the King of the Ring finals to the show in Jeddah, which is in May, the same weekend as Double or Nothing, excuse me. So you're going to have a crown jewel on Saturday, Double or Nothing on Sunday, but then a couple of weeks before that, we got Backlash in France, and then a couple of weeks after that, we have Clash at the Castle in Scotland. So 3 big international pay-per-views coming up for WWE, and all 3 of them will probably be pretty good. So the next 7 weeks is going to be heavy with wrestling between WWE and AEW. A lot of shit going on. So lots to keep track of. So we will try to get into it as best we can today. Before we get into Raw, we got a couple of news tidbits to get into. We were talking on Saturday on the podcast about the small handful of WWE releases that we learned about on Friday, including Jinder Mahal and Xia Li, and a couple of other NXT names. Veer was another guy. Well, it was learned today that among those releases that was not reported, actually, one of them was, in fact, Von Wagner, which is kind of surprising because they felt like they were trying to do something with him in NXT. And Von Wagner has been released. So between Veer and Von getting released, getting their releases, is between Veer coming and Come Tuesday, there's a great tag team name in there somewhere for those guys. I think Ejaculate Conception might be good. If those guys hit the indie scene as a tag team, maybe only working on Tuesdays, could be a lot of fun. Best of luck to Von Wagner and everybody who was released on Friday, and if more people will be released perhaps this week. Hopefully there will not be any more, but there could be. And now that it is a new era in WWE, one thing that we should have to keep our eye on or consider is that they might handle releases different. One thing that they've done differently as opposed to years past is, for the past several years now, they've stopped kind of announcing releases on their website. Now it's pretty much the talent coming out and tweeting about it or mentioning it on social media to confirm it. That's how we're learning of these things now. But another thing WWE used to do is do just mass fucking crazy releases, like 6,000 names in one damn day. Maybe they've changed their strategy on that. You know, maybe they want to stretch them out. 5 names this month, 5 names next month. If we want to release 20 stars, then maybe we'll release 5 people once a month for the next 4 months. Maybe it's something like that. But, you know, I wouldn't want that either. If I'm going to be released, I'd rather just know. You know, what would you do? Would you rather take a gun to the head or a slug to the chest where you slowly die for 15 minutes? You know, I'd rather just, you know, end it if it's going to end. And I guess maybe they could be changing how they do that, which makes me nervous that some of these other names, you know, like our friend Dexter Lumis comes to mind, and, you know, maybe a few other names who might be on the radar. And I just hope that they are not and they stick around, because I really want to see a payoff or a wedding or something with Dexter and Indy. I'm a big fan of their relationship, and sometimes WWE forgets it exists, and then they have a reunion and then they forget it exists again. So get them back together. That's entertaining TV right there. So anyway, best of luck to Von Wagner. He is on his way out. Sticking around, however, is Finn Balor. Finn Balor re-upped with WWE today, commemorating his 10 years with the company. He put up a tweet today that said, after 10 years in WWE, I think it's finally time to say that I ain't going nowhere. And Fightful Select did report today that he did ink an extension, and I quote, this report is from Fightful Select, that was released today right before Raw. Fightful had heard Monday that Balor was staying with WWE and was signing a long-term contract extension with the company. Balor's deal was set to be up within the next couple of months. We're told that WWE was looking to sign Balor to a multi-year big money offer. It was expected that he would have major interest outside the company, and that specifically AEW is looking to sign potential free agents this summer. His name was on their list of talent they were keeping an eye on. Well, that's good, because I feel like Balor's done a whole lot of nothing, you know, since even Triple H took over, dating all the way back to last year's WrestleMania 39. In my predictions to last year's WrestleMania in LA, I picked him to beat Edge in that Hell in a Cell. In my mind, what was the point of Edge going over in that? Why? Balor should go over. You know, he's got more years ahead of him than Edge does. Edge himself had said that, you know, he wanted to wrap things up in Toronto in August for WWE and perhaps his career. So why the hell is he winning a Hell in a Cell match against an active member of the roster, former world champion, that close to the end? I thought it should have been Balor. So I thought that it was possible Balor might go back to Japan, or maybe even dip his toes in AEW, because if he did that, he could probably do a lot of the same stuff that Bryan Danielson is doing and work all over. So I thought that was possible. So the fact that Balor is sticking around in WWE, that's good. They've locked him up, and I hope that he just doesn't tread water for the remainder of his contract, because I think he still has gas in the tank, even though he's in his 40s now. And it's not too late. It's not too late to maybe do something with him. I think maybe eventually you're going to have a Balor and Priest feud. And I would love for Balor to beat Damian Priest for that World Heavyweight Championship at some point. I just think that between the CM Punks and the Drew McIntyres, somebody else might be getting that belt first. I don't know, but that would be fun. And now that Balor is locked into a multi-year deal, you would think WWE would want to get a return on that investment. And we're not going to find ourselves, hopefully, in a pro wrestling landscape where because this definitely happened in the past, and I can see it happening again. It's probably already happened. But I don't want to see companies signing somebody just to keep them away from AEW. And with Finn Balor, they might be paying him to stay away from them. That essentially might be happening here. And they're more concerned with keeping him away from AEW than actually what they're doing with him on their own roster. And AEW might have done that in the past too. Well, let's just lock him up so he can't go back to WWE. Then they don't do shit with him. So I don't want to see either company getting in the habit of doing that. So hopefully this is not a scenario with Finn Balor. And I'm sure WWE is happy to keep him away from AEW. I hope that means that they don't forget about him on the main roster and they actually use him and put some gold around his fucking waist, man. Singles gold. Why not? Come on. Let's see. What else can we talk about before we get into Raw? What about last night's AEW Dynasty? We watched that together. It was phenomenal. I can't say enough good things about that Will Ospreay and Bryan Danielson match. Of course, this brought up a lot of chatter online that I noticed today. You actually had this is the state of the wrestling online community. Okay, you actually had people mad and upset that others enjoyed the match. They were praising it too much for their liking. Aw. How fucking soft can you be to be mad at people's enjoyment? I don't think there's even a word to describe the level of softness that is. And it was everywhere. People are so fucking pissed off. Let people enjoy the match. I don't know where I'm going to rank it. I'm not saying it's the greatest match I ever saw. It's one of the greatest matches I ever saw. But I didn't really take the time to think about exactly where I would place this one. Would I rank Ospreay and Danielson in the greatest AEW matches of all time? You goddamn right I would. I would definitely put it at the top. If this is the greatest one in AEW history, I could accept it for sure, because I think it very well could have been and might have been and probably was. Best match in the history of pro wrestling? Probably not. But if somebody said that, just think about why they might say it. When people get excited or mad, you exaggerate. You get mad. And if you're mad at somebody enjoying that match too much, I'm sure that we could go over to your timeline and we can see you exaggerating in the other direction with all your hate and your daddy's money and your snowmans and your hard cam picks. And it's probably a whole bunch of blithering ignorance all down your fucking page. So getting mad at somebody because they enjoyed something, like have you ever tasted something that's really good? What do you say? This is the best fucking thing I've ever had in my life. It probably isn't the best thing you've ever had in your life, but you say that in the moment because it's so goddamn delicious. And I think a lot of these fans who really, really enjoyed Ospreay and Danielson, like we did last night, were just marking out in the moment because this is pro wrestling. This is exactly what pro wrestling is about. Just a fucking banger ass fucking match. Two of the best in the world ever to do it, meeting for the first time on pay-per-view and putting on a 5-star match. That is jerk-off material right there, if there ever was any. So fans are just excited about it. That's all. And to take exception to that, to get mad at that, to fill yourself with rage because people enjoyed a wrestling match, that right there is a choice. And I think you might need to observe yourself in the mirror and wonder what the fuck happened to you and why nobody likes you and why you were never hugged and who the fuck dropped you down a hill when you were a baby, because something ain't right with you, man. It ain't right. That match was tremendous. Don't worry about people over-exaggerating how they feel about it. If somebody said, that's the greatest match in wrestling history, there is nothing about that sentence at all that should upset you. At all. That's somebody's opinion in the moment. Caring about what every single different individual on this fucking planet thinks is a waste of time. Do not worry about it. Did I think the match was great? Fuck yeah. Do I think it was the greatest match in AEW history? Probably. Do I think it was the greatest match in wrestling history? No. Was it one of the best matches I've ever seen? Yes. These are just simple observations. So if somebody gets a little bit excited, that's the best fucking match ever. Be happy that they're happy. Be happy that they found something that they enjoyed. What the fuck is wrong with people? What? It's not the greatest match ever. You fucking libtards. I'm over-exaggerating or whatever the fuck. I don't know what the complaints have been. But I saw, our friend Solomonster posted today. He said the amount of hate that I've received in the last 8 hours simply over the fact that I enjoyed a wrestling match, is something that needs to be studied. And it's crazy. And that way, he wasn't the only one. I saw that shit everywhere. I saw people getting mad that others enjoyed a match. What do y'all do for a living? What do y'all do in your free time? What kind of fucking friends do you have? Where the fuck do you live? In a tunnel? In a ditch? Like, what the hell, man? Who thinks this way? My brain cannot process having a life that sucks that bad and so bad that other people's enjoyment fills me with rage. That's fucking nuts. So Ospreay and Danielson was phenomenal. If you loved it, if you thought it was the best match ever, I'm glad you thought that. I really am. I'm glad you enjoyed it. The last thing I'm going to do is tear down your enjoyment, because that would be what a dickhead would do. And I'm not a dickhead, and neither are any of you guys. We like when fans enjoy themselves. So Ospreay and Danielson, I think, more than lived up to the hype. And going into the match, even in the predictions, I said, that's going to be the best match on the show. That's the one I'm most looking forward to. And it delivered. And that whole pay-per-view delivered last night. The worst match was Hook and Jericho. And even for Jericho standards, that match wasn't even that bad. It was just he won the title and fuck him. But overall, Dynasty was great. And not only was that match good, we crowned Swerve last night. It was a great night of wrestling. Willow and Swerve finishing their respective stories was tremendous. Ospreay and Danielson was great. And Tony Storm and Thunder Rosa was a lot of fun. And so was Tony Storm's scrum comments, which again, if you got sticks around your yard, I don't think any of the IWC has any left because they're all up their own asses. Tony Storm in the scrum comment, she's tremendous, by the way. Oh, my God. She's always in character. And she's sitting there with Tony Khan, and she says some sort of line, something along the lines of, I promise that no matter how many stories I finish or how many matches I win, I will never invite you to the ring to celebrate with me. And that's great. It's not even much of a shot. Everybody's like, oh, how dare they say that? Cody, they wouldn't even be there if it weren't for Cody. It wasn't a shot on Cody. That was her staying in character. Tony Storm's character and Cody Rhodes' characters are very, very different. Tony Storm is not the type of person that would want to share her spotlight with other people. That's what she was saying. Hey, boss, just so you know, when I win, you ain't coming to the ring with me. That's my moment. So it wasn't even really that much of a shot at Triple H or Cody. And as someone who loves Cody, I've been gushing about him like a little schoolgirl bitch for the past fucking year now. I love Cody Rhodes. I'm proud as hell that he's our champion. I wasn't offended even in the slightest bit by that. I thought that was fine, and now I'm seeing fans online keeping a tally of how many times these companies are sending shots back and forth. Don't get, and that offends people. I saw that today too. They can't concentrate on their own. They're constantly talking about WWE. These are fun shots. There is a time when companies can do something that's excessive or a little bit obsessive. That can happen. We've seen TNA do it. We saw Eric Bischoff do it for years in WWE. Paul Heyman, obsessed with both of the other companies. Everybody's obsessed with each other all the time. You can go too far. You can take things too far. Taking cookies to SmackDown is fucking idiotic. It is. But little tiny shots and things that are mostly harmless, should be fun for the fans. I like those things. Tonight on commentary, I swear I heard Michael Cole say the rarefied air, right? Didn't he say something about rarefied air on commentary tonight? So these are little things back and forth that I like. I wasn't mad at Michael Cole for saying rarefied air. I'm like, that's awesome. I wasn't mad at Tony Storm for saying, Tony, you ain't coming out of the ring with me and celebrating if I ever win. Fuck you. I thought that was great. But fans to get so serious about it, they get so butthurt about it, and they get themselves all riled up, all in the name of fucking tribalism. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Enjoy this stuff. And stop being mad that other people are actually out there enjoying wrestling right now, because while you're busy being tribal and you're filling your timeline with those hard cam picks and those Daddy Con and Daddy's Money and all that shit, while you're filling your life with that, the rest of us are enjoying wrestling. Think about the week we just had. Think about the week we just had, dating back to last week's Raw, which was pretty good. Dynamite was good on Wednesday. SmackDown was good on Friday. Great pay-per-view yesterday. WWE is heading into a trio of great shows here with Backlash and Clash at the Castle and Crown Jewel coming up. Cody's champion. SummerSlam's on the horizon. Wrestling is hot as ever right now, coming off one of the most successful or the most successful WrestleMania of all time. So while the rest of us are saying, fuck yeah, it feels good to be a wrestling fan again for the first time in I don't know how long, you're busy being a bitch and getting mad at Tony Storm, getting mad that people enjoyed Ospreay and Danielson. Evaluate that. Think about that. Give that some real deep thought and think about why you're like that. Why are you a little bitch? Why are you so soft? Why are you mad that everybody else is out here having a good time except for you? Nope, I gotta, how dare you? AEW is a fucking joker. Okay, that's fine if this is what you want to consume your life with. But that pay-per-view last night, if you were a fan, if you could somehow take a pill that not only removes your virginity, but also your ignorance, and then watch that without any bullshit cloud in your judgment and just watch the show, you will be entertained by that show last night. Just like we are entertained by, you should be entertained by any company that puts on a good show. So after a pay-per-view, obviously lots of praise on Dynasty because it was a good pay-per-view. But sometimes when you think of some of the great, you think about the greatest moments of that show, some of the most entertaining things about the whole night, and that those things angered so many in the tribal dipshit community. In the end of the Twitter pool that's filled with nothing but piss. That's all that's there. It's a bunch of idiots swimming in piss. That's all they do. And laugh. I was too busy today to engage, so I was mostly just observing. I'm like, people are all fucking idiots. Look at what they're saying. This is just ridiculous. So I'm trying my best to be entertained and to get a chuckle out of how fucking stupid fans can be. And though there's nothing more, I guess, I'm trying to think of what the word is here, other than just straight pathetic. But there's nothing worse, and there's no more bad faith haters than, no worse bad faith haters than an AEW hater right now. They bring a level of toxicity to the wrestling community that's unmatched. They claim that, oh, it's real bad on the other side. Well, you guys are outmatching them. Guess what? You're being bigger dicks than them, because I notice it way more from y'all than I do on the other side. I see people attacking WWE all the time. There's going to be a lot of people attacking WWE tonight for putting over Becky Lynch, and they're going to think that it's back to that Vince mentality because of one match. They're going to overreact. They're going to get mad. They're probably slobbering all over their fucking keyboards and computers right now about it. So I'm not dumb. I know they're out there too, getting mad that WWE's all a bunch of shit. Let them. Let them think that. I don't give a fuck. I'm enjoying what I'm enjoying, and I strongly encourage everybody to try to do that, because otherwise I really feel like you rob yourself of fun. And I don't know why anybody would choose on purpose to do that, unless you're just a miserable fucking person. So saw a lot of that chatter coming out of AEW Dynasty last night online today. So that kind of wraps it up for the news. Now we need to talk about Raw. Now we need to talk about what's going to happen going into Backlash now that Becky Lynch is our new women's champion. And like I said, that's not who I expected. I had one of those nights where I had to not only redo the overlay. I already had Liv Morgan with the title on the overlay here, so I had to change that. And then I had a thumbnail already, and then I had to change that too. So it was one of those nights, was not expecting Becky Lynch to win, although I should have seen it coming, especially when they kind of gave her the Sami Zayn entrance that we got from Sami last week in Montreal. This one wasn't as good, but I did really like how she gave a little go get him to Maxine. That was very wholesome. But anyway, let's move on to Raw tonight and start talking about the show, shall we? Raw, where the hell were they? Were they in Ohio, right? Were they Columbus? I didn't catch where they were. I did see a commercial for Ohio, so I have a feeling they might have been there. But tonight's Raw opened up with Jey Uso. Jey Uso, of course, is the #1 contender for Damian Priest's World Heavyweight Championship. They will be facing each other at Backlash for the title. And Jey Uso talked about his upcoming match with Priest, and before he's even completed 3 sentences, Damian Priest comes out and starts, being nice to him at first, congratulates him on his gimmick, and it really works for him, talks about how much he respects him, but then kind of turns his message into more of a negative one. And then Jey Uso said that the only reason Damian Priest is the leader of Judgment Day is because Rhea Ripley is injured, and he asked how Mommy is doing, which was kind of funny, and he said that he won't be fed to Priest, and I think he even called him like Dominic's bitch or something like that, which was pretty good. JD McDonough tries to slither in from behind and attack, but Jay sees it coming and is able to hit Damian Priest with a super kick. So JD continues to screw up. Judgment Day is kind of on the ropes right now, when in reality, they should be stronger than ever. But that Ripley injury, now her presence going to be gone. Now Damian Priest is going to be left there with the title and a lot of pressure on him. He's going to be twisting in the wind a lot. And I think they might be trying to tell a story here where maybe he winds up turning babyface, or he's really going to succumb to the pressure of being world champion, because now he's, he has a weakened faction, and, people are fucking up. Even Dom had a little sling on his arm tonight. So they're all busted up. Right after that is when we got a advertisement for King of the Ring. So they started talking about King of the Ring, running through all the winners and whatnot. And I'm like, okay, we're going to get another King of the Ring tournament. And normally I don't give a shit about these. I really don't. But now that Triple H is in charge, I'll give this a shot. Triple H is a former King of the Ring winner. He understands the importance of the tournament. He was around when it did mean something still. So maybe he can make this feel a little bit better. And it does sound like it's going to be elevated a little bit, because as we are going to talk about later, Gunther has declared himself for the King of the Ring. So I don't foresee a scenario where he just doesn't dominate the fucking field and win. He's going to pull a Bret Hart, just like when Bret Hart lost his title at WrestleMania, turned right around and won the King of the Ring. So I feel like Gunther could win that, and that's what I would do, because I don't think Gunther should be losing another match again for a while. So if he doesn't win the King of the Ring tournament, that means he's going to lose on television in the next couple of weeks. And that doesn't seem very likely unless he gets DQ'd. So he's going to have to get disqualified to get out of this tournament, in my mind. Otherwise, Gunther's winning it. So the finals of the King and Queen of the Ring, they're going to be bringing both of them back apparently, will be in Jeddah, Saudi Arabia on May 25th. That's going to be the day before Double or Nothing and just a couple of weeks after Backlash. So I don't know if it's going to be called Crown Jewel or King of the Ring or what they're calling it. I don't know. They didn't really name the show on tonight's Raw, did they, in that little advertisement or that commercial? So we'll see if they have a new name for Crown Jewel or the Saudi show or whatnot. But that's 3 big international shows over the course of the next 7 weeks. And, I think the SmackDown brand, or Cody's been all overseas. He's been in Ireland, and they did a show in Belfast, and there was just an amazing video on WWE social media and Cody's, where he was backstage. He did a meet and greet with 2 little kids, 2 little blonde kids. One was probably 7. The other one might have been 5 or something like that. They were little kids, and they both had like Cody Rhodes jackets on. And Cody, just the way he gets up and just talks to them, and he asked him, he goes, "You guys go to Clash of the Castle?" And they're like, "Oh, we're going to try to." He goes, "It's on me." "How many is there?" "4 of you." "It's on me. Let me get it. We're going to send you to Clash at the Castle." And then he gives the boys the belt to hold. He takes pictures with them. And he's just, WWE hasn't had this level of a champion since John Cena, when John Cena was doing this. And I've been mentioning that about Cody for a long time, how I think he's going to fill that void of the kind of hero to little kids and stuff. And he's so gracious and kind, and he spends so much time with all fans of all ages and gives it his all. And I kind of appreciate just how much Cody Rhodes values the responsibility of being a champion. He really wants to do all this stuff and do it while he can. So the fact that he's always so gracious with his time, he's so good to the fans, he's so good to the kids. I think WWE, we all have a champion we can be damn fucking proud of right now, because there have been champions in the past that haven't really liked to do a lot of this stuff. And one of the reasons why I always gave John Cena a pass on so much of his bullshit was because of how much he did mean to people. Even though he doesn't do anything for you, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but the world doesn't revolve around you. It doesn't revolve around me, doesn't revolve around anybody in the chat. And so I always thought that a lot of the John Cena criticisms and hate were coming from one person's perspective, and they weren't thinking about anybody else but themselves. So when I see John Cena and how he affects and the effect that he has on little kids, and kids are just enamored with him, seeing that transfer over now to Cody is heartwarming, and it's cool. And I just like that Cody is like that. So with all those international shows coming up, those are always the hottest crowds, and it's just going to be brutal for the talent because Cody's and SmackDown's already over there now. They're going to have to come back here to work all the TVs here in the States and then go back. There's a lot of flying. There's going to be a lot of flights for the talent in the next couple of months. And it's funny how long the WWE overseas post-WrestleMania tour goes back. They've been doing this since the beginning. A long time, like right after WrestleMania, boom, they're always in a big overseas tour. It's the way it's always been. Kind of weird that that's still going on, that they still kind of hit them at the same times of the year. But it looks like they're having a blast on that tour right now, and the crowds are hot and the kids are happy. That's what's important. Tag team titles were on the line next with Awesome Truth defending against DIY. DIY, their weird ass little funny babyface theme music is weird. The way they come out dancing, trying to hype up the crowd. I just think of Tommaso Ciampa, in his, NXT persona and that badass theme music and this killer, persona and vibe that he had. Just having them come out there, riling up the crowd. They come out there like a rookie tag team. That's the way rookies do it. Their mannerisms, when they're trying to fire up the crowd, they don't have anything yet. They don't have a gimmick or a personality yet. All they have is, all right, come on, let's get out there, get the crowd hyped up. And when I see them make their entrance, I'm like, they look like they're a brand new team. These guys are veterans. So this DIY is just not doing it for me right now on the main roster. Luckily, they did lose. Skull-crushing finale to Johnny Gargano for the win at the end of the match. Awesome Truth tries to shake hands with DIY. Gargano obliges, but Ciampa does not. So that's a good sign there that WWE is probably noticing that this version of DIY ain't working. And they're planting some seeds here with Ciampa. I don't know if he's just going to turn on Gargano, because I don't think you can really recreate on Raw anyway anything that they did in their feud in NXT. I think it would have to be a slower build than that. So maybe they're not set for a breakup. Maybe they're set for an attitude change, and Ciampa's the first one to notice it, and he's going to kind of encourage Gargano to go along with him. I almost think that would be better than just full-blown breaking him up right now. But we'll see. I'm glad that they lost. I like DIY. I want to see DIY be champions, but I want to see a DIY that I enjoy become champions. And this current rendition of them is just not my favorite. So Awesome Truth, still your pizza WWE Tag Team Champions. We cut backstage to Judgment Day. Dom is up there in a sling, so he's hurt too. He's got matching injuries with Ripley. He says that he's hurt. He's supposed to be teaming with what the fuck was he teaming with tonight? He's supposed to be teaming up with he brings Santos. Oh, he's teaming up with JD. That's right. He's supposed to be teaming up with JD to take on Andrade and Ricochet. That's what it was. And he shows up with Santos, and he tells Priest, hey, since I'm hurt, I thought Santos could fill in for me, repay the favor for what I did for him over on SmackDown. And JD was like, well, you didn't talk to me. And Priest is like, I don't like this at all, but what choice do we have? That's fine. Just go out there and take care of business. So we would get that tag match later on. Then we get a Gunther promo. So Gunther is back. I thought they might wait a little while to bring him back, but he's back on TV now. I think that's great. I missed Gunther a lot. Gunther makes his return and cut a promo talking about his loss, talking about the long reign that he had as Intercontinental Champion, and also declared himself for the King of the Ring. And I think that's great news because, like I said, I don't give a shit about the King of the Ring. It's a weird type of trophy concept to give out. It doesn't mean anything to me to wear a fucking crown. I've always hated the King gimmick. I liked Macho King. I think I only like Macho King. I didn't like King Harley Race because I'm like, what the fuck are they doing to Harley Race? King Duggan was stupid. King Haku, again, stupid. All the kings have been fucking dumb. Macho King was cool as hell, though. But every king after that, Lawler, was just a lame, cheesy prick. And then all of the other kings, you know, that they've tried to do where they've actually come out and worn the cape, King Corbin and King Xavier and King and Queen Zelina. Who the fuck else was out there just looking obnoxious in the cape? I just think a cape and a crown, I wouldn't want to win that. That's why I love Triple H. You know, he smashed that shit at King of the Ring 97 because he didn't want to wear it. Austin didn't even look at it in 1996, you know, where Brett and Owen put the shit on. But Austin just looked at it, it's like, fuck no. I mean, Austin didn't even make eye contact with the robe or the crown or the throne, you know, and Triple H didn't want to wear it either. And he smashed the crown up and stuff. So the whole idea is just dumb. It's just lame as fuck. It's some 1995 shit. I don't care about the King of the Ring. But with Triple H now in charge, maybe he's going to bring back or resurrect the importance of the King of the Ring. And putting someone like Gunther in it, I would say, is a good way to do it. And having Gunther win the King of the Ring right after losing his IC title at WrestleMania gives him something to do, keeps him a little bit occupied until you figure out what sort of title aspirations you have for Gunther, because not everybody can be competing for the title at the same time. You got Drew, you got Punk, you got, Priest, and you got Jay. Gunther getting involved in that, yeah, maybe they might want to save that for SummerSlam, though, so he needs to be doing something in the meantime. And a lot of times when guys have won the King of the Ring, they've gotten title shots at SummerSlam. So if Gunther wins the King of the Ring, that might somehow earn him or translate into a championship match at SummerSlam. Maybe, we'll see. Or they might want to wait until WrestleMania 41 to crown Gunther, but it's going to be tough to do that. You know, maybe Gunther can win at Survivor Series or something. We'll see. But he is now declared himself for the King of the Ring. He is out there with Vinci and Ludwig, by the way. New Day then interrupts. And this is one of those things where Vince McMahon and Kevin Dunn might be gone from the WWE, but you can still spot an impromptu tag coming from 15 miles away. The minute the New Day's music hits, I'm like, well, there you go. We know what our next segment is going to be. It's going to be a tag team match. And that's just what we got. Impromptu tag, New Day versus Imperium. New Day gets the win, pinning Vinci. And then after the match, again, something that you could just see coming. Gunther is very, very mad at the loss. He was out there at ringside watching it. He leaves in disgust. And Ludwig, whatever Kaiser's name is, goes into the ring and tries to console Vinci, hugging him, head on his chest type of thing. I'm like, oh, he's going to turn on him. And then they try to stall. You know, the music shuts off too, which is, again, you know this is happening. I'm like, okay. Then they actually get through the ropes. I'm like, okay, he hasn't turned on him yet. I'm still believing 100% that he's turning on him. And then he jumps down from the apron. I'm like, okay, any minute now. And then he turns around, kind of like how Sami or KO did to Sami in NXT. And when he got to the outside of the ring and he shoved him back and head first into the LED apron, and it kind of glitched out and he just beat the hell out of him, and then drug him around to the other side of the ring and laid him like front face down on the steps and was going to go kick his head off. But security kind of ushered him away. And then he gets like almost to the aisleway, and he breaks through security and then gets a running start and runs all the way around the ring and basically kind of like claymores Vinci's head. And it looked really good with the camera angle they used. It actually looked pretty badass and just completely demolished him. So Imperium has now crumbled. When Ludwig got to the back, though, Gunther was waiting at Gorilla, and he looked very, very pleased. So Gunther might be cool with this. Him and Ludwig might be sticking around. Maybe they want to move Vinci on to as a single star. Maybe they see some charisma or something in him, and Imperium is going to replace him with someone else. I don't know. We will see. But now Vinci is, I guess, going to be on his own. So we'll see how that goes moving forward. After that, we got a Drew McIntyre promo. He's out there talking about, losing the title in 5 minutes and whatnot. And he's interrupted by his old buddy, Sheamus. Sheamus comes out and gives Drew McIntyre a little bit of tough love and basically just says, hey, we had the same conversation in the back. This obsession that you have is taking down your career. It's affecting your career. And I'm just trying to help you out, man, because I love you, because I'm your friend. And then McIntyre, with the line of the night, or line of the week, perhaps, says, Sheamus, there was a time when you'd come out here and have banger after banger after banger, but now after looking at you, it looks like you're having burger after burger after burger. I was like, damn, that's a good one. And Sheamus gives him props on the burn. It was actually a pretty solid burn. Sheamus even tweeted out burger after burger after burger. Sheamus is actually fine with this. Sheamus is awesome. Sheamus is such a cool fucking dude. Last week he returned. Everybody gave him shit because he had just a little bit more going on in the middle. Motherfucker, what do you look like? I mean, Jesus Christ, I'm a skinny prick, and even I got some more going on there than I used to, and me and Sheamus are the same age. That's just something that happens. Sheamus is still in tremendous shape. He is in no way, shape, or form a fat or obese man at all. He's just a big feller, and everybody was getting on his case, and you know what? He fucking just rolled with it. He didn't get offended. I think more of the fans were madder than he was. He was tweeting out images of himself photoshopped in front of McDonald's and stuff like that. So he's having a good time with this. I don't think he gives a shit at all. I think he finds it pretty comical and entertaining and amusing that so many people are pointing to him. But, in fairness, I will say that most of the comments I saw about Sheamus's appearance didn't have, some did obviously, but not all of them had malicious tones. I think a lot of them were kind of just like, wink, wink, just having a little bit of fun, not meant in any way to be offensive. But then you'd add some people, of course, that are way too judgmental about everything. My God, the funniest thing is when you see videos of Rhea Ripley performing at house shows and live events, and the fans don't understand why she looks different, because they've never been around a fucking woman and they don't know how makeup works. Why does she look so different? Because she's not on TV, idiot. When you go on Raw, you think those girls wake up looking like that? They got to sit there for like 2 hours of makeup and getting their shit ready for television. So at house shows, luckily for the talent, they don't have to spend those grueling hours in chairs for every damn show, and they can go out there a little bit more natural and watching the fans going, "Oh, she looks so weird." And I'm like, one day, maybe there will be foundation and lip gloss in your bathroom, but maybe not. But watching their confusion is really funny. So fans, it's kind of their instinct. It's their first impulse a lot to comment on their appearance, how they look, or fatter or whatever, whatever. It is what it is. And Sheamus played right into it. I'll do that sometimes. I'll talk about when somebody looks better. I've been praising Natalya lately. I'm like, she just got ridiculously awesome looking, and her gear is better now. And I think that's awesome. not meant to be offensive, it's just an observation. She looks great. So with the fans giving Sheamus shit, Sheamus is cool and he can handle the troll, and it didn't seem to bother him one bit. If anything, he's having fun with it, and that's why Sheamus is the best. So McIntyre then tells Sheamus that he's going to go sit at the outside on the table here. Jesus Christ. He's going to go sit down on the table and watch Sheamus' back, because Sheamus has a match up next against Shinsuke Nakamura. So we go to break, we come back, it's Sheamus and Nakamura. Not much to say about this match other than it was a bro kick for the win, and Sheamus and Drew haven't really imploded yet, but you can kind of see that happening in the future. But I thought it was a fun little promo between the two, and we'll see if they actually, full blow come to blows, or if we get maybe a match between these two, maybe a Backlash, Sheamus and McIntyre, if they set something up, or if they're gonna, maybe drag this out a little bit. But I think Sheamus facing McIntyre Backlash and losing might be something they need to do. Give him a big win over someone like that. Sorry, I am just reporting somebody. There we go. We are going to get rid of Smurf Williams because he is a douchebag. Let's get rid of him. All right, you're done, Smurf. Thank you for the $5, but you are not welcome in here. I don't like you, and you fucking suck. Oh, wait, why am I liking that? There we go. Let me just fix that. Put user on timeout forever. I'm also going to hide you. All right, so I've hid you, I've reported you, and done everything I can to hide your stupid ass from my channel. Get the fuck out of here. All right, let's get back to what we're talking about. Sami Zayn was interviewed next backstage with Kathy Kelly. And before he can really talk about what went on last week with Chad Gable, and there was a really good picture online this week that I saw of Gable last week when he Germaned him from behind when he was talking or hugging his wife, and Sami like reaching, there's like a still image of him reaching in midair for his wife, going like, oh shit, as he goes flying backwards. I thought that was really funny. And Sami didn't really get a chance to say much about it because he was immediately interrupted by Bronson Reed, who basically said, I want a shot at the title. And Sami's like, yeah, anytime, any place, you got it, pal. And then Bronson walks away only to return and attack him and attack Sami and beat him up. So it sounds like Reed and Sami are going to face, and that's good. It sounds like they're lining up a couple of challengers here for Sami Zayn. They can do this match on TV or just do it at Backlash and have Sami Zayn beat Bronson Reed. That's what I would do. If they're going to have a match, Sami needs to win. Have Sami's IC title run for a little while anyway. Alpha Academy promo was up next, and this one was going to be good because we knew Gable was going to explain himself from last week and his actions from last week. And I was curious if Alpha Academy was going to be continuing now that he turned heel. And there was also a report this week that we talked a little bit about on the podcast about belief in WWE that Gable might be starting a heel group with the Creed brothers. Maybe some similarities to the world's greatest tag team in Kurt Angle, Team Angle from 21 years ago now. If you were born during Team Angle, you can fucking drink now. That's crazy. But that would be a hell of a tribute, wouldn't you say? Alpha Academy breaking up and Gable aligning with the Creeds and becoming like a serious unit. I would love that. So they might have planted the seeds for that here tonight. Gable was in the ring very upset about, of course, losing last week, and then goes on to blame his stablemates, which we had a feeling he would do. He ran down to Zawa, gave Maxine shit, who looked very sad, got on Otis's case, and he looked very sad as well. And Gable said that their number one priority from now on moving forward is Chad Gable, and they are all going to help him win his Intercontinental Championship. That's going to be their number one goal. And basically that's that. So you can tell that that's probably not going to fly for very long. The more abusive he gets, the more likely Otis is to eat him. So I think that will probably break down, and then Gable will either recruit the Creeds, or maybe I was kind of thinking they might full-blown attack here. I thought maybe Gable already had this set up. Like he was going to run them all down. The Creeds were going to hit the ring and beat down, Otis and Tozawa, and Gable was going to announce that he's with these guys now. And it might be, I know Maxine and Ivy Nile are homies, but you've got a two guy and a girl faction there with Gable that you could replace with another two guys and a girl. So you could even have Ivy turn, which might be nice. Ivy and the Creeds joining up with Gable, and they ditch Otis, Tozawa, and Maxine. That might be something they might do. I'm not sure. But we didn't get any of that yet, but that's probably going to happen because that Chad Gable is going to be an insufferable douche, and that's good. He's good at that, and I really want them to run with it this time. I just think he's way too talented to not have already made it to the upper part of the card by now. And I feel like you've already wasted years with him. You could have already had this guy on top for the last 3 years. So the fact that you've just been not doing dick, I think now hopefully Triple H will, because if this doesn't amount to anything, then I think his chances are kind of done. And he'd go down as one of the biggest wasted talents. So hopefully Gable turning heel can make him a main event player, because I've always thought he had the ability and all. I don't know what one downfall, I don't know what one negative is. I mean, the only negative maybe his size, but his wrestling ability, his charisma, and all of that is great. He's a perfect professional wrestler in the ring, and he's great on the mic. He's very entertaining. He's got good comedic timing, and he's, maybe not quite the natural that Kurt Angle was in that department. He's close. So I think that he's a can't miss. Why are we missing with him? So maybe this is the beginning of a big hit for Chad Gable and his future. I hope so. I like Chad Gable. We're backstage. Dominic and Ricochet. Here's something interesting that happened. Dominic and Ricochet had a quick little exchange. Dominic's in the sling, and of course, like, trust me, I would have loved to be cleared so I can kick your ass. And Ricochet's, get the fuck out of here. I already know what you're going to say. They share a few words, and Ricochet walks away. And when he does, Liv Morgan shows up and just has a little stare down with Dominic that only lasts a couple of seconds, and they went to commercial. And I'm like, what I would do if I was Liv, Liv this is her revenge tour, right? So she's taken Rhea Ripley out, and now Ripley's off TV. What I would do if I was Liv is I would try to seduce Dom. They should do that. They're going to in a more adult kind of focused product. I mean, they're going to be on Netflix in a couple of months. So God knows what they're going to do on that. So this is a storyline that's well within those parameters, I think. I don't think it's too hardcore to have Liv Morgan maybe try to manipulate Dominic and seduce him so she can steal him away from Rhea Ripley. That's why I wanted her to win the title. I put you out of action, then I took your belt, then I took your man. Oh my God, that's what they should be doing. Why the fuck did Becky win tonight? So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, they should do that. And Liv Morgan should start being nice to Dominic and maybe start trying to manipulate him and get him to fall for her. And then she just uses him, and then once he succumbs and cheats on Rhea Ripley with Liv Morgan, Liv then dumps Dominic and shows Rhea the footage or whatever. And then it ends their relationship. And then maybe Dominic then he's going to be lost. He's going to have nobody, and he might put his career trajectory down a different path as well. But something like that I thought would be fun. And since Liv and Dom kind of came face to face, Dominic, he's pretty entertaining when he's with a woman. So I think that if him and Rhea do a breakup, I mean, at some point that's going to have to happen. They should put him with someone else. So maybe Liv Morgan could be it, and she could maybe actually get up with Dom. But I think if Liv and Dom ever got together, Liv needs to be the one manipulating him. And then once she takes that from Rhea and she steals her man, she dumps him. Like, that would be great. That would be part of revenge and her malicious intent that she now has to harm Rhea Ripley and anybody that's close to her. So that would have all been fun, especially if she was champion doing all this. But she didn't win later, but at least it sounds like the issue with her and Rhea will continue. And that might be another reason, Liv Morgan and Drew McIntyre right now, maybe the reason they're not champions is because the people that they're feuding with are both on the shelf. So, that now Priest can be champion, and then maybe Drew can get it a little closer to Punk coming back, or maybe Punk can beat Priest for the title and then Drew beats him for it, something like that. So maybe another part of WWE's thought process with Becky winning tonight is that they didn't want Liv Morgan to be champion, and the primary person she's feuding with isn't on TV, which means everything she's going to do while they wait for Ripley to get healthy isn't going to be anything substantial, because it's going to be short, quick feuds that she's going to win and survive. So maybe they just wanted to have another top woman on top. I'm just trying to look at things from their perspective before just immediately flying off the rails and insisting that it was a wrong decision. Trying to at least see what their thought process might be is much more helpful and effective. I think you can still disagree with it, but at least try to see maybe what they were thinking, like that's what I always try to do before I just reject. I'm like, okay, that was a choice. Why did they make that choice? Because they're stupid isn't an answer. So I have to think a little more deeper than that. And I'm like, they must have made that choice for a reason. And so sometimes I try to figure out what those reasons might be. There's a name for that. It's called reasoning. No, for real. It is. All right. After that, we had that tag team match. I paid no attention to this shit at all. It was Santos Escobar and JD McDonough taking on Andrade and Ricochet. Andrade and Ricochet got the win here. It did look like there was a move. They were using that great overhand overhead cam lately, which I really like. And Ricochet came off, I don't know what move, it was a tandem move off the top, but Ricochet came down right on JD McDonough's head. It did not look good, but I think he survived that just fine. And Andrade and Ricochet got the win, so that's good stuff. And that brings us to our main event, which they did give a lot of time to. This was the Battle Royal to crown the new Women's World Champion. I didn't catch how many women were in this thing. It looked to be about 15. We had Maxine and Zoe and Shayna and Piper and Chelsea and Nia and Liv and Becky and Kaden and the other one and Natalia. Trying to think who else was in there. It was a good little group of women. And the winner of this thing was going to be the new champion. So there was high stakes. I'm glad they put this one in the main event. It was a great opening to this match too. And I don't know if they're going to do this as a trend. If they start this as a trend, I don't think I'm going to be against it. I really enjoyed the special feeling that Sami Zayn's entrance gave you. If this is going to be a weekly thing, if they are going to open up every main event like this, that might be kind of fun. You know, sometimes it might not always work if you have a crazy match going on or a feud or something that's just not going to, where about an entrance like this doesn't really fit. I suppose that could happen. But if they're going to do this every week and the main event of every Monday Night Raw is going to have a long walking entrance by a talent coming through the crowd or something, I think that might be kind of fun. And they did one of those things here tonight as well. They had... They cut backstage to Jackie Redmond, where I think she was going to try to get some comments from Nia Jax or Liv Morgan, but they're screaming and fighting in the background or something. So she can't get a word with them. They're being pulled apart by security. While they're being pulled apart, Becky Lynch comes walking up in the same gear she wore at WrestleMania. And she walks right past them and she's like, whatever. And walks right to Jackie, grabs the microphone and starts walking with the camera into the arena. Kind of just like Sami did last week. And as she's walking, she passes Ivy Nile and Maxine sitting on the crate, and she walks past them, and then she stops, and she looks back, and she comes back to Maxine and gives her a little pep talk, a little mini pep talk right there in front of the world. You go out there and you prove that you belong here. Go get them, girl. And just walks back. That was so fucking wholesome. And then came out to the ring. Music played. It was awesome. Not quite as good as Sami's entrance from last week, but still pretty fun. And if this is something that they're going to try to do on a regular basis on Raw, I think that would be a fun new addition to the show because I've been liking it. So Becky comes out. Everybody now is gathering in the ring. And the match starts. I only wrote down a couple of eliminations here. I did like to see Maxine tossing out Candice LeRae. She was another one that was in this match. So Maxine eliminating Candice. That was good for their little story right now. Zoe Stark eliminated Caden and the other one by herself, threw both of them out. Nia Jax wound up eliminating Maxine Dupree. We had Piper Niven and Becky Lynch brawling on the outside of the ring. She's got Becky on the table, like laid across the table. And then Nia Jax comes out there and she actually choke slams Piper into Becky, who's on the table. And then she picks up Piper and she struggled to do it, but man, Nia got her up. And she got Piper up into a Samoan drop position and Samoan dropped her onto Becky, onto the table, and they took a spill. So that looked really good. While all of this was going on and all of the referees were concentrating on what was going on with the table stuff, Chelsea Green gets eliminated. None of the referees see it. She hops right back up in the ring. She wound up getting eliminated later anyway, but she did survive an elimination there. Nia Jax eliminated Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler pretty much by herself, and that left Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, and Becky Lynch as your final three in the match, and this was going to be a fun final three. I was thinking the whole time that Liv would take advantage of Nia and Becky, but it was Becky who walked past Liv and Nia Jax. So the more I started thinking about it, I'm like, oh, it's going to be Becky. Just like all of the reasons that I speculated about earlier on. You know, I'm like, oh, fuck, it probably is going to be Becky, isn't it? And Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan kind of teamed up to eliminate Nia Jax. So the two of them got her out of there, leaving Becky and Liv as your final two. And of course, they're brawling on the apron, exchanging kicks and whatnot. Eventually, I don't even know what did it. It was kind of a lame way to end it. but Becky knocked Liv off and then just kind of kicked her off the apron and she went down to the floor, and Becky Lynch won the championship. And I will say that I'm slightly disappointed in that because I wanted to see Liv win it, but again, I can kind of understand why. And I'm curious to hear if we get any reports about this from, the websites or whatever, or if Fightful has any news on this, or if my speculation is just way off. But it feels like Becky was probably set to be off TV just for a little while after that loss to Rhea Ripley. She's got no current ongoing stories right now. Her husband, Seth Rollins, warriored his way through WrestleMania. He just had surgery. Maybe the family is going to take some time here, but then when you lose your champion, you lose your other top star, and you're not injured and you're healthy, they had to call you to come back. So maybe Becky, had Rhea Ripley not gotten injured, wouldn't be on TV right now. She might have had to come back because of that injury. And if she did, then I can understand WWE saying, come on back. We need you to fill that role. We need you to be our champion right now. So that's the way I think it kind of went. Now, I feel like everything would have been fine if Liv Morgan would have won here and then turned into just a sniveling little asshole, obnoxious, gloating, taunting, trolling Rhea Ripley, getting random or having random title defenses that she successfully wins, and just develops kind of a heel persona and escapes some of these title challengers a few times until Ripley comes back, and then maybe surprises her or something like that. I don't know. I would just love to see a scenario where, she's been champion for 4 or 5 months now. She's survived a bunch of challengers, and then she's out there one night just up to shenanigans, doing sketchy stuff, whatever. Maybe cheats to win another match, and then Adam Pearce is, fed up, and he comes out and he's like, I was going to wait to say this, but I think you should defend that title right now against a returning Rhea Ripley. She comes out and kills her in 2 seconds and wins her belt back. It would have been a fun, little story and payoff there, I think. But they went with Becky, and Becky now, I guess, will have a championship match at Backlash, maybe, unless they keep her off Backlash so she doesn't have to travel all the way over there. That's possible too. Yeah, I don't know. Becky wins. Let's see what you guys think about it in the chat here. Haven't talked to you guys in a while, so let's get to these super chats and see what y'all have going on. You guys were pretty kind to Raw. Look at that. B's, A's, B minus, 7 out of 10, 8 out of 10. Not bad. 6 out of 10 from Damian Drain. I think I'm more of a 6.8er on that, but I'm not going to give it an 8 or a 10. Good to see Mr. J hanging out, 2-month-long member. Thank you for being here, my friend. Just want to say thank you for all your videos. You are welcome. Thank you for being here. I want to thank you, man. You don't have to thank me. I like doing this. The fact that you're here is quite lovely. Dan Price, good to see you, man. I'm glad you're here as well. Throwing back to the Vince era would have been Vince having Charlotte win the battle on one leg. Yeah, I was worried that Charlotte could maybe come back. I'm not aware of her recovery progress with her injury. I guess she's probably not that close to coming back since that was it ACL or whatever it was. But I was worried. I'm like, oh shit, if there was ever a time to bring Charlotte back, this would be it. She did kind of tweet and tease some things today, but I didn't really believe it was going to be her. Plus, it was a battle royal. It would have been cheap to have somebody come out at the end of it and then win it. So once the battle royal started, I figured that the women that were in the ring were going to be the ones. It's going to be one of them. So the surprise went out the window once the match started. So then it was like, okay, it's going to be Liv or Becky or Nia Jax. And that turned out to be the final 3. Juliet's handing out some memberships, hooking up All Sports Are Scripted with a membership. Juliet's always out here doing good work. I appreciate that. Yo, Zane G, what's up, man? What's good? Next Tuesday is your birthday. 1 week from tomorrow. Right on. We will sing to you. Sing it next Monday. We'll welcome. Well, shit, you're with me in California, though. I was thinking if you were East Coast, it would already be after midnight right now. So the East Coasters will sing to you. We'll all sing. I might freestyle rap it. I'm not sure. I'll think about it for a week and get back to you, Zane. Happy early birthday, dude. Can't wait to see you next week. Curtis Butler, Good to see you here too. Robert27. Chris Ludek is here. What's up, dude? Good to see you, man. I think Becky may drop it to Liv soon so she can get her win back from their feud in 2022. There you go. Maybe that's, but that's the thing though. Like if it was that would make Becky almost, in my mind, like an unnecessary transitional champion. Like why did she even need to win this fucking thing? If Liv beats her for it within the next month, why didn't Liv just win the Battle Royal? You know? Like, it's odd, don't you think? But yeah, maybe Becky still has a chance to spend some time at home with Rollins if she can drop the belt. Maybe a Backlash or somewhere. But you also have another thing you have to think about is that those shows are coming up. You got Clash at the Castle coming up. You got Backlash. And even Crown Jewel, they might want Becky on the road for those shows. I mean, those are big international markets, and especially Clash at the Castle and even Backlash. I think a lot of fans having her on the card for those shows might be good. They might be thinking it along those lines because otherwise she probably wouldn't be on the card at all. She'd probably be at home. So if you can't have Rhea Ripley represented on those shows, and fans probably already had tickets purchased for those shows for a while now, and they weren't aware that Rhea Ripley was going to get hurt. They were expecting her to defend the title at Backlash, at Clash at the Castle, maybe even, well, maybe not Saudi Arabia, but at least Backlash and Clash for sure. So WWE maybe wants to make that right. See what I mean? Like they might want to say, okay, if you're not getting Rhea, we'll give you Becky. Because in their mind, that's like an even, an even way to fill the void there for those shows. So there's a lot of things to think about. And it's not just as simple as, oh, Liv Morgan winning would have been more fun. I think, yes, it would have. But from WWE's perspective, at least you have to understand why the decision was made. It's still fine to disagree with it, but you got to at least try to wrap your head around why they might have done that. And I think some of those international shows coming up might be it. Now, if Becky's left off those shows to stay home, then I'm like, okay, well, then what the hell? Why didn't Liv Morgan just win? So I'm not even sure if Liv is going to get the title now. I'm not. Because if she was going to get the championship, I felt like she, like I said, would have just won it here. So I don't know. Oh, yeah, there's Smurf Williams. So I think I already know, like the other night, this Smurf dickwad that we blocked earlier, he was like, why is my other account blocked? And I remember there was this guy a while back that anytime I mentioned John Cena's name, he went into some blithering fucking dumbass rage, saying things that just aren't true and getting all mad. I don't know what's going on or whatever. So I blocked him. And then when he started all his John Cena slobbering, crying little bitch ass mess down there, I'm like, oh yeah, you're that fucker. So thank you for paying me 5 different times to be a dick. I appreciate your money. I'm going to take it. I'm going to keep it. And I'm going to buy myself something pretty. And the next time you turn up here and give me another $5 to be a dick, I'll take that money too and block you again. So fuck off, Smurf Williams. We hate you. He hate me. He hate me. Yes, I do. All right. Who else we got? Maybe Liv wins at Backlash. Yeah. I don't know though, Max. Like I just said, if she's going to win at Backlash, she should have just won here and then retained her title at Backlash. That's all you do. Unless they want to give her a bigger win. I thought a Battle Royal would just be fine for someone of Liv's, stature, especially to win it in that way. It's great heel heat, especially if she finds a way to not do much in the Battle Royal. That's what I would have done. I would have had her escape that Battle Royal with as little damage as possible, get heat, and then brag about it. And it would have been fun, but can't have everything, can we? Right on. All right, so let's refresh here. Make sure my chat's all up to date. All right, well, I think that's pretty much the end of my notes. Not much else to get into since it's not a enormous audience or anything tonight. Y'all got any other questions? Is there any news that I missed today that we didn't perhaps get into? I also have to start thinking, that's right, we got to talk about this. I got to start thinking about what watch along to do for Sunday. I have not put any thought into this at all. We've hit all the backlashes, man. So if we want to go back to a WCW show, we could do that. I'll think about it. I guess we could maybe do a King of the Ring if we wanted to, but we've knocked all those out too. We've done 93 and 94. I don't think we've done King of the Ring 1995. We might have to watch Mabel. Y'all want to watch Mabel? I don't. I don't know if I want to watch Mabel. The main event of that show sucks ass too. It's Diesel and Tatanka. Who the fuck is it? The Diesel and Tatanka? No, it's Diesel and Bam Bam against Tatanka and Sid, I think. It's horrible. So maybe not King of the Ring 95, but I think we've watched 96. I think we might have even watched 97, although I don't remember. I don't know if we've watched 99. And I was at that show in Greensboro. Yeah, I'll give it some thought. Forbidden Door, June 30th. We've got a date on that. Okay, that's good to know. Thanks, Max. I gained another follower today, but it's really the same guy. That's cool. I actually, true story, I honestly mean this. I am not lying. I do not have and have never had a burner. I have one Twitter account only. So I don't even know what it's like to have a burner, and I don't go around trolling somebody under an assumed name or anything like that. I've literally never had any more than the one Twitter account. I've had 3 YouTube channels, the second channel and that third one I tried out a couple of years ago that I kind of quit with. But I've only had the one, the one Twitter, the one Twitters. Bash at the Beach 2000, Domo. Well, usually I try to keep whatever watch along we're doing consistent to the time of year we are. So we are getting a little bit of we'll be jumping ahead a little bit if we did King of the Ring, but I think we'd be jumping way ahead even further if we did Bash at the Beach, right? Or no, Bash at the Beach is July, right? I think it's July, not June. So I feel like we got a little bit of time before we do a Bash at the Beach. Like we should wait till we get into the summer. It's still April here. We've had some May pay-per-views, Judgment Days and stuff. We watched, I was at Judgment Day 2003. I think we've watched that one. I think if we watched Judgment Day 2002, I think we have. I think we watched Judgment Day 02 when Taker beat Hogan. I'm not totally sure if we've watched 01 though. Judgment Day 2001, that was the night before Triple H tore his quad on Raw. That one might be okay. Yeah, we'll give it some thought. I'll give it some thought. I'll come up with a good one for us to watch, but we definitely have some candidates. Rodrigo, we have done Backlash 2004. I was looking for it on my channel and I couldn't find it, but I'm like, I swear I have a memory of us watching that. So I went through my files and I don't know why, but I only have half of it recorded. I don't know if we had technical difficulties that night or what happened, but I had a thumbnail made and everything. I saw the thumbnail, I saw the overlay, and I saw the watch along where like half of it had somehow gotten recorded. I might have had some sort of issue that night or something. So we have technically watched Backlash 2004, but it's not really available on my channel anymore for some reason. I don't know what went on that night when we watched that. King of the Ring 2002. That's another good one, Max. We haven't gotten to that one yet. To that one yet? I was thinking it was Edge. It's Brock. That's right. 2002 was Brock. You know what? I haven't even really watched that one in a while. That was one that I think I might have missed. I remember where the apartment that I was living in. I had to watch that one like a couple days later for some reason. So my mind isn't as sharp on it. And is that where The Rock won the title, or did he win it the pay-per-view after? That was right after Austin left, right? Rock came back early, won the title to drop it to Brock, I think is what happened. Yeah, that could be a good one to watch. I don't know. Yeah, the one I avoid Judgment Day 2000. I kind of avoid Iron Man matches on watch-alongs because they just take up too much time, one match. I kind of like finishing up a match. Okay, what match is next? I kind of like that part of it. So I would like to watch a card that has a lot of matches on it. So a lot of times Iron Man matches on a 2 hour and 45-minute pay-per-view, that's a lot of time to devote to one match. Although that Triple H and Rock match was spectacular back at Judgment Day 2000. Oh, Vengeance. Yeah, Vengeance 02 Rock won, right? Yeah, I think Rock came back at King of the Ring, but won it at Vengeance, I think is what that was. And yes, Juliet, we did do King of the Ring 1996. I remember because the day that we did that a couple years ago, I think we did it on an Easter Sunday or maybe just a regular Sunday because I was actually at work at brunch, and I remember really cutting it close. And finally, when I left that day, I was walking to my car and I filmed something and put it up on Twitter or something like, "I'm heading home, guys. I'm really late, but I'll make it just in time." I remember that being like a hot June day, like just being really hot, coming home, rushing home, firing up the computer, and we got it done. We got King of the Ring 1996 done. Yeah, I'm going to kind of gather some shows, look at them, and I'm going to try to come up with a fun one for Sunday. So the rest of my night is booked. Elizabeth's got some dinner for us. We're going to watch a movie or something, but I'll have a link up for Sunday's watch along probably like by tomorrow or something. So just keep a lookout for that. Thank you again for being here tonight. I'm going to go ahead and bail out of here now. I appreciate you hanging out with me for the Raw review as we elaborated a little bit more on last night's spectacular Dynamite. Dynasty last night. Dynamite Wednesday does look like an interesting show. We're going to hear from some new champions, and we also have Moxley and Hobbs booked for a match. On SmackDown this week, Jacob Fatu is moments away from debuting, probably at any time as well. And we got the draft coming up, and the draft is Friday. So Friday night we have the draft. We're going to have a lot to talk about Saturday on the podcast because that's where we're going to talk about the draft. And one thing I did think about Nia Jax too is she could get involved in that bloodline shit. They could put her with Solo and Tama and Jacob Fatu perhaps if they want to create different sides of this bloodline. You know, maybe The Rock gets his daughter involved on the other side. You know, and it's Rock and Roman and the Usos and Ava Raine against Jacob and Solo and Tama and Nia. Who knows what they could do? But that bloodline, man, they run deep in WWE. And the draft is going to be interesting. So this week, we'll find out. We'll find a lot out about the draft. We might come up here early this week if I can, talk a little bit about it. Maybe a mic drop, given some ideas on who I think should switch brands. That's possible. But Friday night, we will learn the first half of the draft anyway, and we'll be up here to talk about it on Saturday. So you'll hear from me for sure, mic drop or clip or something like that on the channel this week. I'll make sure that I get content up, and we will have a lot to talk about this week. So thanks again, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Monday evening. Sleep tight. Don't let them bed bugs bite, and